House to Home, presented by Remax Diamond Realty.
It is a Tuesday if my calendar is right, and if my Zoom is right, that means we have Gina and Liz from Remax Diamond Realty Guam, and we are talking about increments of time, ladies, I would say is the best way to frame this, because we are talking about a 18-month warranty and whether typhoons cover that right now. Very, very, very timely, I would say. So, Gina, you actually wanted to talk about this topic because this kind of ties in with some public policy that dictates real estate and home ownership, right? So what does this whole 18-month warranty, where does it get like fuzzy?
Well, fuzzy. It gets fuzzy when we have earthquakes or typhoons. And we've just had a major event, a major typhoon. And, in the last few years, we've sold a lot of new real estate, new homes, and those 18-month warranties apply to these new homes. So that's where it gets fuzzy. And in fact, we've had people reaching out to us because, we were the listing agents for the properties, or we were working with the developers or the sellers, and they're reaching out to us saying, this is what's going on at my property right now. And we'd like, can you let the developer or the contractor or the seller know? And sometimes those are three different entities, right? The developer, the contractor, and the seller may not always be the same entity, but the 18-month warranty applies. Someone's responsible for it. But again, the law is pretty clear. I know we shared a copy of that portion of the law with you, Jason, if you want to share it with the public. And
absolutely, here we are. And I would just say, ladies, based on the font that is used, and kind of like the language, it looks like this law is a little, I don't want to say dated, but it looks like this isn't some like brand new law. It looks like it's a little bit old.
Oh yeah. This went into effect a long time ago. I can't remember the exact date, but it went into effect a long time ago. And yes, it's actually it's quite clear what the law says. The law is very clear. It defined when, depending on the event, depending on the storm, or depending on the earthquake.
Okay, this may be significant because if you see right there, I just highlighted it. Sustained winds in excess of 75 miles per hour or damaged by a earthquake 5.0 or high, or in excess of 5.0 on the Richter scale. So those are rather large natural disaster events. Or are they?
That's right.
Yeah, Liz, are these considered, like common? Because I mean, a 75 mile per hour storm, that's what? That's still tropical storm level? Is that even typhoon?
Yeah, but what they're saying is usually your home warranty covers, let's say, structural, plumbing issues. It doesn't cover wear and tear. So when you get a typhoon, if let's say your windows got blown in because of the typhoon, that would not be covered under the warranty. So, and each homeowner, of course, would have home insurance. So, I mean, even with the FEMA situation right now, they're asking questions as far as, do you have a home insurance, and what does the home insurance cover? So, in terms of the warranty, structural, different issues regarding the construction, those items would be covered under a home warranty. But a typhoon and earthquake, there are limitations on whether that is covered. So we've had many people who come in and they say, well, my door fell off the hinge, or a minor issue. And then the question is, was it wear and tear? Was it caused by a pet? Whatever the issue is, if it was wear and tear caused by a pet, or let's say I pulled the door too hard and it, there was an issue with it, these are not covered under the home warranty. So if there's a big crack, and let's say there's water seeping through the crack in the roof or the walls, those would be considered home warranty issues. If it was poor construction, we've had issues where brand new expensive construction, and the HOA actually went after the contractor because there were issues that were poorly constructed. So, we have to look at each issue as to what was the cause.
And there is something interesting because you mentioned HOA, of course, homeowners association. So Gina, does this also apply for condominiums as well as, like standalone, residences that were built from the ground up.
According to the law, it does apply to condominiums as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so you really have to look at the regulations. I think the only thing it doesn't apply to is if the construction of the home was less than 50,000 and it was built on, for instance, it was built on my land, the contractor built it on my property that I supplied, but the cost of what I built was less than 50,000, which doesn't exist anymore. I'm sure at the time that they created the law, that might have existed, but no more. But the interesting thing about this is we're not saying that you shouldn't go to your developer, seller, contractor to say, hey, the 18-month warranty, I want to file I want to report this item based on the 18-month warranty. We're not saying you shouldn't do that. We're saying that there might be circumstances, I think you should file with both. Contact your developer, seller, contractor, and let them know, hey, I've got paint peeling off my building. And the seller can say, well, it was caused by the typhoon. And you can also go to your insurance company, as Liz pointed out, go to the insurance company and say, I've got paint just peeling off my building. And this house was built less than 18 months ago. I want to file against my insurance policy. I'm going to file with the seller. We're just saying, be mindful of the fact that some of the damage, the seller can come back to you and say, listen, it was an act of God. It was a typhoon. I'm not going to cover it. And here's why. So we suggest you file with both entities, your insurance company and your seller, if your 18-month is still in effect.
I wonder if you could even file with FEMA, because the FEMA folks have been very, very good, and they've been very open. They're like, apply. That's what they've kept saying. They're like, there is a deadline, but they're like, make sure you get your paperwork in and apply. The worst we can say is no. And if this doesn't fall under FEMA's purview, then it will go to like the U.S. Small Business Administration or something like that, Liz. But would you recommend actually applying?
I agree. I mean, the worst thing they can say is no. And we've talked to a number of homeowners that had FEMA come in. I mean, I saw a video of water just coming down from the ceiling that came through an aircon vent, and that particular family got denied, and they had a video of it. So, if you get a no, you get a no, but at least you tried. And exercise your rights in appealing to all the different venues that could help to some degree.
Now, because residential homes too, ladies, like a home is not a home is not a home. I mean, you've got the individual standalone homes, and then you've got, like I said, a condo, like Guam beachfront condominiums, where that's like it's like a 12-story building. You've got townhomes, which are like, the houses that are only 2 stories, but they're right next to each other. You may share damages. Does this also apply to commercial properties? I'm wondering.
Your home warranty is a home warranty, so it's applicable to the home. Now, if it's a commercial building, it just depends on what was in your contract, what was covered. Sometimes there are warranties that cover, like, for example, I had someone repair roof work, and they gave a warranty of 1 year. So if it's a commercial building, I got a documentation that said there is a warranty from 1 year from the work we did. So if it's a commercial building, you want to ask if there was work done, you want a warranty, and then have that in writing. And of course, commercial properties, you normally have insurance. Home insurance, commercial property, there's insurance, but bear in mind, there's also deductibles. So it's just a question, if you start to weigh, what's the cost of the deductible? What's the cost of the repair? Because remember, if you claim, then your premium goes up the following year. So you just have to weigh what the cost is to repair and what the premium cost is, because if it far outweighs the repair work, you might as well not bother claiming.
And Gina, you brought this topic up because you thought it was very timely, it was very topical, it was very germane to what's going on our island right now. But is this a part of the law governing real estate that, would you say, not that many people are aware of, or is this like fairly commonly known? This is
no, based on the phone calls we've received here from the customers who have properties that the 18-month warranty is still, they're still writing that warranty period. It feels to me that maybe it's vague. They're not really sure Do they claim this with the seller that they bought the home from, who is still liable for that 18-month warranty? So yeah, that's why we're bringing it up, so that, you know, our position is, it doesn't hurt. Like, as Liz pointed out, you know, you could file it, you should file it with your insurance company. I believe the law is pretty clear. In case of a typhoon, 75 miles per hour winds, you know, the warranty no longer applies depending on the damage. And we're not saying that everything that you are worried about right now, all your concerns right now, were caused by the typhoon. You may very well have. And so the 18-month warranty is electrical, plumbing, structural. So maybe you've got an electrical problem, and it has nothing to do with the typhoon. It wasn't caused, you know, it didn't happen during the typhoon. It was before the typhoon.
Mhm.
Yes, absolutely, contact the seller. But we're just saying, you know what, do it all. Liz said, go to FEMA, go to your insurance, go to your seller. Just try everything.
Again, the
And,
worst
you
they can
know-
the worst they can say is no, and they will pass you on to the more appropriate agency or department or
Right.
whoever will help you.
And one example could be, let's say I got a brand new home and the windows were not mounted properly by the contractor, and the typhoon blew it in because it was not. And I know this happened in one of the typhoons in the past, that they had sustaining wind windows that were supposed to be strong, but during the typhoon they discovered that the windows were not mounted properly. So, you know, those are things that if it wasn't mounted properly, then you could probably get the developer to cover that.
Mhm.
But again, you're going to have to get an expert to attest to this was deficient. So it's not clear cut. You're going to have to get someone to look at it to say, hey, this wasn't mounted properly, and therefore it would be a developer's responsibility.
Well-
So again, you never know. You just have to keep checking.
That's legal talk, right? I mean, I can see that being a legal issue right there.
Right.
But
And speaking of the law, we'll end on this point, because somebody at some point in our island's history thought that this might come into play, and somebody did, and it's been codified in public law and everything. So this does work in your favor if you did in fact have damages. And there's so many different use cases out there of what people have gone through over the last month and change and everything. So this is an avenue that you may want to pursue. So Liz and Gina, thank you very much for this information. I'm sure this is going to help some people.
I hope so.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
House to Home, presented by RE/MAX Diamond Realty.